No. On the ties. On the
At first I thought they were reading your script too.
Yeah. That'd be great. That'd be like a
Evening
cold start
one,
for
so-
Saturday Night Live or something. Yeah, Dave, are we good? What'd you say?
We're good, go.
All right, great, thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, May 27th, 2014 School Committee meeting. This meeting is live and being recorded. We'll begin tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Long Meadow School Committee maintains educational policies that foster continuous improvement by challenging and supporting all children in a safe and caring learning environment, enabling them to reach their highest potential and become productive citizens. Through effective communication and positive relationships, the Long Meadow School Committee will make informed decisions in the best interest of the students, the schools, and the Long Meadow community. This evening we have almost seven students with us tonight from Glenbrook Middle School. And they are here to talk with us about Water for Wasalla. And so I'm going to hand it over to you guys. Do you want to introduce yourselves and then we can go through your presentation?
I'm Zara.
I'm Audrey.
I'm Gia.
I'm Cicely.
I'm Cyprian. I'm Vanessa.
I'm Elizabeth.
Do you want to join them up there?
Of course.
And what grade are all of you in?
7th.
Seventh grade. Okay, great. So I'm going to hand it over to you guys and you can take the lead. Go for it.
Good evening. We are some of the 7th grade students from Glenbrook Middle School, and we're here tonight along with some of the other students and our teachers to talk to you about the work we did this year in our classes and in the community.
Our 7th grade ELA teachers at both Glenbrook and Williams came up with an idea for a unit that would allow us to think about the themes of community and interdependence. During these units in English class, we talked about the essential questions. How do our choices affect us, our communities, and the world, as well as how are we all connected as we read the book A Long Walk to Water?
At Glenbrook, our studies included learning about many issues to help us answer those questions. Because at the same time we read the book, we were learning in science class about the importance of water in our lives, while in social studies class we were studying the African nations of Sudan and Southern Sudan, because that is the setting of the book we were reading in English class.
Additionally, we were learning about measurement, budgeting, and percentages in math class, while in Spanish class we learned about the language, culture, and geography of Nicaragua.
In computer class, we learned how to think about persuading an audience about your messaging using visual, music, and text to create a public service announcement using iMovie. In English class, in addition to reading the novel and other articles about the issue related to our novel and water resources, we worked in a small group to create public service announcements that could be used in our school and in communities for fundraising.
While our class novel focused on Southern Sudan and water issues there, we supported the work of Water for Waslala because access to clean water is a global problem.
We put all of this learning to important use because the 7th grade students have participated in a year-long community service project and unifying goal to raise funds in support of the organization Water for Wasalla, which works to help with the water crisis faced by the 56,000 residents of Waslala, Nicaragua.
Water for Wasalla works to provide access to clean water to these families to ease their daily lives and prevent people from getting sick from waterborne diseases.
Over this past school year, the 7th grade students held a number of fundraisers to raise money for Water for Wasalla. We sold Water for Wasalla wristbands, held a jar award contest at every grade's lunch, asked for donations at our parent-teacher nights, held bake sales on Saturdays, and ran our public service announcements on our school website all year long. As of today, we have raised $1,146.
Here's one of our public service announcements that will show you what we did, but also inform you about these important issues.
Will provide you with a handout to give you a more in-depth look at what we studied and a copy of the article from Glenbrook Times about our project.
But first, here are some thoughts from the students on why this was important for us to do this year. This unit is very important because Longmeadow is a very small part of the world where we are lucky to live comfortably, but in other places there are problems like the water crisis in Nicaragua. This is a big problem in that part of the world. People don't know it, but they can help. We take water for granted because we can get all the water we need just by walking to the sink. But the people of Wasalla have to walk miles just for dirty water. If we raise money, the people of Wasalla will get water and not be sick. We also learned that there are people less fortunate than us in Longmeadow. Thank you for allowing us for time to speak here. Do you have any questions?
Start off by saying that. Really great. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Is this a one-year program, or do you continue to, will you continue to support Wasalla? Excellent, excellent. I think this is just a phenomenal unit. And first, I'd like to thank the teachers. I see you, Principal Collins, here, as well as your teachers. This is an amazing unit. Often you study and things are broken in parts, but when we talk about interdisciplinary learning, this is it at its best, because it's clear that you get the real reason for learning, that we are privileged, and that there are things we can do to help. I think I'm most amazed at the number of fundraisers. Often groups will do one fundraiser. You've kept it up all year. You've done a series of them. And next time you do a fundraiser, I hope you call over to the central office, because we'd love to donate money for you, and we haven't been tapped yet. So I have a check for you. Somebody just needs to call and ask. But thank you for your work. We're very, very proud of you. Excellent job, both staff and students.
Thank you. Yes, John.
I'd just like to congratulate you on your work, and also the fact that there were multiple disciplines involved. Spanish language, of course, and science for the purification of water, et cetera. Where is the water going to come from that will be sent through this pipe? It's not going to come from that source, I trust.
No, it comes from water. They have water in like the mountains, and they build. Cicely knows.
Go ahead.
Water for Wasalla builds water systems that tap from different water sources that they can't reach. So.
Okay.
Very cool.
All right. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
You guys have done an incredible job, and it's such an important issue, and it's so great to see, people your age so concerned about, availability of clean drinking water. And so, I only hope that we can keep this up in the district because this is incredible. It really is. So I think we're all very proud tonight.
And to
for
think
sure.
2 families, thanks to your efforts, already have clean water.
Yeah.
In 1 year, is it, that they've done this? Wow,
That's
absolutely
awesome.
amazing. Amazing.
Very cool. Well, thank you so. Oh, go ahead.
We're also having a bake sale this Saturday, 10 to 2 o'clock. So if you want to come by and
At
get some
Glenbrook?
cakes, not at Glenbrook. It's in front of Big Y,
Okay,
the
great.
entrance on the left.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Thank you,
We
thank
will
you.
definitely be there.
Who does the baking?
All the students and
Excellent.
teachers and stuff.
So how many students actually participate in the fundraisers?
A lot of them.
Wow, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
You said this Saturday, right?
Yes, it's Saturday 10 to 2, I think. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much. This was incredible. Oh, Mr. Collins.
Can I steal one of these microphones for a sec?
Yeah.
Whose lap would you like me to sit on? So I just wanted to share just for a moment in front of all of you. As you know, I've only been over at Glenbrook about 5 weeks now. And what I've experienced in the last 5 weeks, both with staff and students, has just been remarkable. Your passion around this program has been so palpable in the building. It's just been an amazing experience for me coming in and seeing how excited and truly passionate you all are about this. It's not just a school project. It's not just a couple of bake sales and a fundraiser and maybe learning about another part of the country, or the world, excuse me. It's really about owning it, and it's really about comparing what you have and what good fortune we all have here in this area to what they have in other parts of the world. And what we take for granted is so not taken for granted in other parts of the world. And you guys have really owned that. It's been an amazing thing to see. And I have to comment on 7th grade teachers as well, because they really spearheaded this whole program, really got it out in front of the kids, and their real genuine desire to not only teach all of us about real life situations, but also to do it in such a kind of a coherent way where every part of the curriculum has had a piece of this, so that no matter where our students are going from one block to the next, there's a piece of Waslala. Tell me how to say it again.
Waslala.
What they said. Waslala. It's the L-A-L-A at the end that always gets me with my dentures. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate you picking up on that. So, in closing, before I get myself into any more trouble, you guys are awesome. You're inspiring. You guys are inspiring. And this is something that I hope can continue for years and years to come at Glenbrook, because it's such a great example to set for the rest of the school district and the rest of the community. So thank you all very much. And thank you for having them all tonight.
Thanks for coming.
For the students, whatever you make on the bake sale, I'll match it. So let me know what you make, okay? And I'll match the donation.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You guys better raise a lot of money this weekend.
Do it, do it.
So I think I can get a tweet and Facebook.
Absolutely. I will get that out to my class.
What is it?
Get everyone there to purchase.
Well, it's bank
Oh, we could. Yeah. Can't see that far. It's, your dentures, my bad. He's got it now. Yes. Oh, yes. It's the correspondence. All right, so we're going to move right along into correspondence.
There is correspondence for this meeting. Letters received on May 14th from Miss Dorothy Vandalian's ELA class, thanking the school committee for the classroom libraries.
Yeah, so just while I have the floor, I thought I would talk briefly about this as well. What you have is a series of about maybe 20 or so very short writing pieces, all written to the school committee, that are in response to the great donations that you made mid-year to purchase classroom libraries. And I just wanted to just touch on this very briefly. You can see, after reading some of these correspondence, how heartfelt they are. And having the opportunity to walk through these classrooms now and to see how much has been added as far as content and choice in all of our ELA classrooms has really been pretty impressive. And we've also started to do some work around professional development moving forward and how we can really put these new resources to best use next year and in the coming years. So we've put together a whole group of staff from both Williams and Glenbrook. We've been meeting regularly, led by Assistant Superintendent Kelly Ganji. And our work has been to really focus on professional development around these new classroom libraries. So we had a meeting today, as a matter of fact, and the enthusiasm and the excitement around what we're doing and where we're going with these new texts has really been great. So in addition to all of the thank yous that you get in these short writing pieces, I want to also thank you, representing both middle schools, for allocating these funds so that we could make these purchases, because the winners in the end are our kids. Our teachers are fortunate enough to have these resources, but our kids win in the end. So thank you all very much for your kind donations.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving right along into visitor comments. Are there any visitors here tonight who wish to speak? Jasmine.
Stephanie Jasmine, 123 Englewood Road. I'm here to speak about the importance of funding full-day kindergarten. After the town vote and the uphill battle that we faced with both the town and the school committee, it became clear that there is a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding about full-day kindergarten. And so I'd like to speak to that as well as the consequences for not funding it. But first, I'd like to let you know a little bit about my background. You've seen my articles, I've been here, but just to tell you a little bit about who I am. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I got my master's in social work and my master's in public health from Columbia University. After I left there, I went to the Yale Child Study Center, where I was accepted into 2 different fellowships, one in their outpatient clinic and one in their child development unit, where I conducted developmental assessments. From there, I went to Hartford, where I did developmental assessments for an early intervention program. From there, I went to Enfield, where I worked in an outpatient clinic with high-risk kids up until a few years ago, when I was fortunate enough to be able to stay home with my 4 kids while they're little. I have a significant amount of experience working with children and seeing how programs of exclusion affect them, academically, socially, and emotionally. And that's what charging tuition for full-day kindergarten does. It excludes. The program of choice, as stated by our school department, is available to only those who can pay. And it creates a program of exclusion. It creates a program of a 2-tiered system, a divide between the haves and the have-nots. It widens the academic and achievement gap already shown to be present by 3rd grade. Statements made at town meeting would make one think that kindergarten is an unnecessary program and one that's best taught at home by a parent. The statements made at town meeting were egregious, they were false, and they need to be addressed. And so I'd like to take the first one that was said, that full-day kindergarten is daycare. All state, federal, and independent research points to the benefits of full-day kindergarten for all children. Initially, it started off with the benefits for children who were lower income, and the more recent research really showed the benefit for all children. You cannot teach kindergarten at home, By the end of kindergarten, children will be expected to read text ranging from 10 to 20 pages, compose and write opinion pieces, compose informative and explanatory text, process abstract ideas, read, understand, and solve addition and subtraction word problems, understand and describe measurable attributes of an object such as length and width. Saying you can teach them from home undermines the teacher's skills and places unrealistic expectations on parents. I don't know if you're aware, but 73% of children in Longmeadow, age 6 and under, have parents who both work. To expect them to come home from work where the child has gone from school and then daycare and to be able to teach them while they don't have a teaching degree undermines the teacher, and it just places expectations on parents that can't be achieved. In addition, children do not automatically catch up by 3rd grade, as was said at the annual town meeting. $500,000 in literacy support was put into the budget to address achievement gaps that are present in 3rd and 4th grade. 3rd graders will be held to an even higher standard next year because of the Common Core. It needs to be addressed before 3rd grade. Another statement made at town meeting: my kids went to half day and are fine, yours will be too. The expectations for next year are different than previous years. There's no research for next year. The only thing we have to go on is the fact that expectations will be increased and achievement gaps already present will widen. I'd also like to add that I have 2 children that went through the kindergarten program, one in half day, one in full day. I know the differences between the 2 programs firsthand and the additional stress that will be placed on the teachers and those half-day students with the Common Core expectations that are coming into place next year. It cannot be done in a half day. This has been said by our teachers. It's said by surrounding towns. It's said by Wellesley. It's said by Hopkinton. It has said by everyone. It's known. 2 hours and 45 minutes is not equal to 6. 15 minutes of math versus 45 minutes of math is not equal. Another thing that was said is everyone can afford it. This is just simply not true. If you have a family with 2 children and you make a combined income of over $102,000, you will not receive any assistance. It doesn't take into account debt. It doesn't take into account expenses. These are young families coming into town, first mortgages, first children, they've got their student loan debt. Usually both are professionals. It doesn't take into account any of that. The multiples discount doesn't take into account income. It doesn't take into account debt, but it doesn't take into account income either. So while this may be an exaggerated example, you could have a family making a multi-million-dollar income with a house on the Cape, and they're going to get a discount simply because their second child is going into kindergarten in the same year. Take a family with a $103,000 income, strapped with student debt, can't make ends meet. They're not getting any discount simply because their second child is going into kindergarten the following year. So it's not to say that a multiples discount should not exist, but I'm questioning why there's no income accountability for them like there is for everybody else. The last one is that the statement, there's no money to fund it. The school committee has placed high priority on technology. Almost $1 million in the budget is going to fund it. It's a high priority. Over $600,000 is expected in unallocated funds at the end of June. Select Board member Mark Gold has voiced loudly that he believes that the school committee, if they want to fund full-day kindergarten, should keep some of that money and use it to fund it next year, and then for the following years, come up with a plan to do it. But don't let next year's class suffer when there's money that can be used for it. I've been told that by school committee members that some of that $600,000 is going to be used for supplies and technology again. I'd also like to say that money was being asked from the town simply as a last resort. We had been here when the school committee presented their budget. We asked you to include full-day kindergarten, to go to the town. It was rejected and the budget stayed as it was. As a result, the town took their budget and funded what I believe is a record amount of capital projects in 1 year. Over $4 million were funded because they had the money to do it. And you did not ask for full-day kindergarten to be funded. So other towns have put full-day kindergarten for all children as a priority. 87% of Massachusetts children attended kindergarten last year. 84% of those did not pay tuition. That number will be in the 90 percentile next year. Wellesley just voted to fund it. Hopkinton just voted to fund it. Those towns had the support of their school committee and superintendent. Superintendent of Hopkinton said, "We can't wait another 180 children. This can't be about convenience or space. This needs to be about instruction, perfectly matched for our students." Wellesley superintendent, "The world is not standing around us. Expectations are accelerating, and we need to calibrate our system. Students need more time with our great teachers. Achievement gaps he saw as being present because of access." Those superintendents and their school committees were advocating for the best educational program to be offered to all of their students, not just some. So I ask, why wasn't Longmeadow doing the same?
State your name and address for the record.
Yes, good evening. My name is Chris McCourty, 9 Llewellyn Place. I come here as well to voice concerns from the town meeting and the inability of our town to come together on such an important issue. I had the chance actually last week to go to the technology exhibition that we had. Yeah. And what struck me is that when we come together and make something a priority, we find the funds. We find the way to make it work. For whatever reason, the funding of full-day kindergarten became a hot issue that people felt was who's going to win and who's going to lose, who's going to give a high five to somebody at Starbucks and say we won or we lost. That's truly not what this is about. What this is about is our children and giving them the best possible opportunity to succeed. Yes, they may eventually catch up, but why would we take that chance? One person who spoke said, we'll do fine. We'll be fine. Common Core, it may stay around, it may not. Do we really want to take the chance that it's going to go away? Or do we want to give our kids the best chance to succeed? I'm clear on where I stand, and that is that we give our children the best chance to succeed. I have lived in Longmeadow now for approximately 9 years. My wife and I moved here in June 2005. One of the strongest pulls of why we moved to Longmeadow was the strong schools. We have since had 4 children. Unfortunately for our older 3, we couldn't even consider paying to do the full-day kindergarten because between our daycare costs and student loan costs, there was no way we could make it work. My last, our last child is now of kindergarten age. My wife took time to go to all the meetings, concerning the kindergarten, and she was fully convinced this is going to happen. There is such a strong wave here because there doesn't seem to be a dispute that full-day kindergarten is the most educationally sound way to prepare our children. Now, there's the issue of funding, and I know that that's ultimately what these things always come back to. But when we were in the situation of we need to, put money into technology, that got funded without much of a debate. When we needed to build the high school, there was no question that was going to happen. It was going to hurt, but it was going to get done. And I just it's the comment about daycare, like that really bugged me in a major way. Okay, because kindergarten is not daycare. And even if you send your kid to full-day kindergarten, you're still going to have aftercare expenses. So to suggest that parents who are supporting full day are doing so because they want free daycare, that's about as insulting as it gets, in my opinion. Okay? That's not the issue. The issue is our children. And do we really want to kick this down the road, kick the can down the road and see what happens? That's not the town that I think we want to be a part of. I think we want to be proactive. We want to do everything in our ability to make sure our children get the best chance possible. And that's why I support full-day kindergarten being funded, and we need to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I'm Georgia Robert. I live at 89 Hazardville Avenue. I'm going to talk about full-day kindergarten, but I think it's going to extend a little bit into the achievement gap in general. The first point I'd like to make tonight is that Longmeadow is a changing town. As some of you may recall, I did contemplate a run for school committee, and I was out, at Starbucks meeting people. And one of the major comments that I heard was, I don't want to pay for kindergarten, for moms to be able to run all day and go to the club. I'm not even sure what club this is, because I know I don't have time for membership at any clubs. And it's just, there was some sentiment that just absolutely does not match my current experience being a newer resident to Longmeadow. It's not the reality of many of the people that I meet through the Wolf Swamp community. I know that at the Wolf Swamp community, we have many active military members. I know of one about to be deployed. We have single mothers. We have, if you come to my side of town near the Enfield line, we have people who are making ends meet, and people like me who left a home in West Springfield to buy a slightly overpriced home in Longmeadow for the school system, and never complain, about the taxes because that I'm excited about the schools. But at the same time, I'm getting a little frustrated with this patting ourselves on the back and this rhetoric that I heard at the town meeting that really is essentially saying, like, well, we're Longmeadow and we're okay. Our kids will be okay. I raised my older son in West Springfield for 4 years and scrambled to get over here in time for him to start kindergarten. But I'd like you to know that the neighborhood school I left in West Springfield is outperforming Wolf Swamp Road School. That school is Tatham Elementary School. They're a level 1 school in a level 3 district. Their MCAS scores are higher across the board than the MCAS scores at my son's school at Wolf Swamp. So I say that to you because what are we doing about that? Where is the dialogue about that? Why are we not talking about Wolf Swamp underperforming in comparison to the other 2 elementary schools? So I want to just give you that perspective from the way that I see this. We have a major achievement gap over at Wolf Swamp, and we have kids who deserve to step into that full-day program and be off and running. I have a background in English language arts, so I'm very well familiar with the reading and writing workshop program, which is newer to Longmeadow, but has been around for a long time, and I know that program very well. And I know the assessments that are given, and I know the intervals at which they're given. The data will be there for us to see how our half-day students do in comparison to our full-day students next year. And I know that I, as a parent, will be looking for that data, and I will be educating my friends who are parents about looking at that data, because I can say from experience, I put my older son in the full day. He just was reading before school started, and he was not alone. But there were other kids who didn't really begin reading until the middle of the year, or who were struggling at the end of the year. So this early literacy, to me, that is kindergarten. Early literacy in Longmeadow is kindergarten. We have readers who walk through the door, and when they test them on these assessments, they might be, C-level books. And some of these kids are going to get to a level book that is really a second grade level. They're all over the place, and that's okay, but why aren't we creating a plan where we're giving a solid foundation to all of our students? So I also just want to point out, I have a 4-year-old as well, and so I have a year to kind of sit back and watch and see how this all plays out. But, to say that this is the, $3,000, it's like, oh, it's a great deal. By attaching a price tag, you've made it a service that I, as a consumer in a free market society, I'm going to be shopping around. I want what's absolutely best for my son. And there are other options. There are people who might consider school choicing out for that year. I just think it's something that changes the tone of it. And like I said, we're going to want a lot of information next year to see what is the right decision the following year. So I hope that, proactively, I'm here asking for that, and I hope that that will be available to us as we see how things play out next year. So in the end, I'm very supportive of the schools, but at the same time, I just really look forward to seeing how we begin to address that achievement gap, begin to address lagging performance at Wolf Swamp, and really, creating a plan for that, and not just resting on our laurels in terms of, we're a higher performing district in the sense of Western Mass, but individual schools, we need to look at that, to always put ourselves above and then have that West Springfield school that's clearly outpacing us, to me, is a powerful piece of data. And I think in a lot of ways, really, when it comes down to it, I'm half a mile from Enfield. We really should be comparing ourselves to some of the Connecticut schools and, in the northern part of Connecticut. To always just say we're doing better than some of our surrounding communities here in Massachusetts seems, it seems a bit false to me. So thank you for your time.
Moving right along into school committee comments. Jet?
I know the topic's been brought up and has been one of much heated debate. And while I respect Mr. Mark Gold for his opinions and his comments, some of what he said at town meeting was incorrect in terms of funding. And the response that we've received from the Department of Revenue, that has also been given to Mr. Paul Pusturzik and has also been sent to all of the select board members regarding the $600,000 turnback. Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 71, Section 34, states that every city and town shall annually provide an amount of money sufficient for the support of the public schools. Well, going on to say fiscal years begin July 1st and June 30th, and the amount of time the treasurer has to enter on books all items for payment of bills incurred, salaries, wages, etc. Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 56, every item appropriated by town shall be considered a separate line item, no department financed by municipal revenues or in whole or in part by taxation shall incur liability in which the excess of the appropriation is made for such departments. Massachusetts Law, Chapter 44, Section 31. When read together, these statutes make it clear that the annual appropriation for all town departments, including the school department, is intended for use in a single fiscal year. It goes on to state that an encumbrance is an amount held over, and it is an accounting term used to describe the segregation of annually appropriated funds dedicated to a particular municipal expenditure, evidenced by a binding contract for goods or services executed in a particular fiscal year, or in the case of public schools, executed for performance in the next fiscal year under Mass General Law, Chapter 71, Section 49A, after the annual appropriation of the next fiscal year school budget. The funds encumbered are appropriations for the next fiscal year, not those for the current year. In the case described, where the town meeting failed to appropriate additional funds for the purpose of funding free full-day kindergarten in FY15, appropriations from FY14 may not be encumbered to pay those expenses which would arise in FY15. If not spent by the end of the fiscal year, those FY14 appropriations would close the town's general fund since they could no longer be expended for FY14 purposes as described previously. So while Mr. Gold has made the comment, which has fueled much discussion, that we could take any turnback monies we have available to us to fund this program, legally, by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, we are not able to do that. Legally, we are bound to return those funds, and funds allocated in one fiscal year are appropriated for that fiscal year and that fiscal year alone. Thank you.
I'll get you.
I agree with my colleague on the interpretation of Massachusetts law. So I'm not going to talk any more about that. But I do want to go on record thanking the three of you for coming here tonight. You're quite articulate. There is a world of a difference between daycare, babysitting, and kindergarten. Kindergarten is taught by a professionally trained and licensed professional. And the experience is backed up by all kinds of research as being beneficial to the child and also beneficial to the community. And one person on the town meeting floor, by the way, anyone can speak on town meeting floor if you're registered to vote. You don't need credentials in any particular subject. It can be astrology or metaphysics or civics. But one person made the claim that there's no effect detectable on kindergarten after the 3rd or 4th grade. I don't believe that's true. It's like if you learn to play the violin or the piano at age 3, you're going to be able to go on and do even greater things when you're 10 and 12 and later. So just because a specific test that measures behavioral patterns doesn't catch the growth, doesn't mean it's not there. Okay, for what it's worth, I'm going to vigorously support all-day kindergarten, free all-day kindergarten, or that is, I should say, taxpayer-supported all-day kindergarten for fiscal year 2016. So that's not going to help people in September of 2014, but I think that whole question right now is moot. Thank you.
John?
I'll thank John for saying everything that I wanted to say. That was very eloquent, and I'll just copy what he said. That thank you for coming and for sharing your concerns. And John, I agree wholeheartedly with you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Kim?
I just want to comment that I know that we have all continually liked the idea and supported the idea of full-day kindergarten. It's not an idea, it's not a question as if we don't want to have it in this town. I think it's just a matter of trying to figure out how to fund it. I think one step at a time, I think, is an okay thing. I know that when we were planning our budget and needing to approve our budget, the town was facing a deficit. And to go to them with some sort of request for more money, it's just a decision that we decided not to do. Doesn't mean that we don't support the idea, personally. It just means the timing wasn't good for now. There seems to be, I know Marie Angelides, and I know it was just spoken here, about a $500,000 literacy program that we added this year. And I just want to clear that up, because when I look at my budget here, I see $210,000 on literacy coaches and interventionalists, and that's so that we can actually have a full-time literacy coach at each elementary school, because right now that's a shared position between 2 schools, and then 2 full-time teachers at the middle schools. So I feel like some things have been said that need to be kind of cleared up. And then we spent $355 on special education. So $500,000 literacy program that keeps getting thrown around, I just wanted to clear that up. The other note I wanted to throw out is that at least the last 2 years that I know of, I have only not lived in this town yet 2 years, but we have not been given a budget directive that has allowed for any new initiatives. So for us to add anything new, we have to actually cut things from the current budget. So I just need people to understand that. When you're given a directive, and I know you don't agree with me, but that's okay. when you're given a directive and a budget that only covers contractual increases, you need to cut things to add things. So I just need people to understand that.
John?
I've, on another topic.
Okay.
Unless someone else has something to say on this one.
I'm just waiting until everybody's done.
Okay. Let me pull up this. Okay, I would like to just congratulate Miss Laurie Snyder, who is a Long Meadow High School social studies teacher and has been here for a number of years. She's the 2014 recipient of the United States Japan Foundation's Elgin Hines Outstanding Teacher Award in the humanities category. She'll be formally presented with the award at a ceremony at Long Meadow High School on Friday. Laurie Snyder has taught Asian Studies, World History, and United States History since 1996 at Long Meadow High School. During that time, she has served as District Social Studies Coordinator, Department Chair, as well as the East Asia Club Advisor. Her academic interests in Japan began during her undergraduate years at Hamilton College. She studied East Asian history under the instruction of Professors Miriam Silverberg and Thomas A. Wilson. Her primary area of historical interest was the work of the famous, I'm going to say this improperly, Kokugala Moturi Norinaga, a member of Phi Beta Kappa. She was awarded the Edwin B. Lee Award in Asian History and became a Japan Exchange and Teaching Program participant in Mie Prefecture, 1992 to 1994. I'd like to congratulate Laurie Snyder on this achievement. I think it reflects great credit on her and on our school department. Thank you, Laurie.
I would echo that. Congratulations to Laurie Snyder. Does anybody else have any comments? I have a few. First, I would like to welcome Superintendent Doyle back after her gallbladder surgery.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
I'm sure. We certainly missed you. Second, I did just want to comment on some of the things we heard here tonight, and I certainly do understand some of the feelings about the comments that were made at town meeting with regard to kindergarten and daycare. And, you know, I think that I join John and I join everybody else up here in saying that we don't look at it that way, and we do think it, I agree with you, Georgia, it does undermine our teachers and what they're capable of doing. And so, but at town meeting, everyone is entitled to their opinion, and it's just kind of the way it goes there. With regard to the funding for kindergarten for next year, or for this year, or for next year, I feel that we made progress, but I think that that progress isn't necessarily complete. I don't think that any of us feel that the dialogue is finished. I don't think that any of us feel that we're satisfied with the status of the program. I think that we made progress. We lowered the fee and we got rid of a lottery that exists right now, but that's certainly not the end of the conversation. And I do join John in saying that, you know, in the next year and if we're able to do it, and if the circumstances allow for it, we will all be advocates for full-day kindergarten for free. And I think that, John and I think most of us have long felt that way. And so, I would just leave it at that, or leave my comments at that, that we, that especially for me, I certainly don't feel that this is the end of the conversation. And, I think that while it's not necessarily helpful for FY15 or the next school year, the goal is, at least my personal goal, is that we are able to get to a point where we're able to offer kindergarten tuition free for every student. Shifting gears, I would like to remind the committee and the community that Long Meadow High School graduation is on Monday night. The doors open at 6:30. Additionally, I would also like to remind everyone that the annual town election is on Tuesday, June 3rd. Polls are open from 8 to 8. Seeing no other comments, we'll move on. There's no old business, and so we'll move on to the administrator's report. Marie, do you have a report?
Thank you, I do. First of all, I would like to thank the staff and students for their attendance at the Technology and Education Showcase Ties. Joe was there in his T-shirt helping out. We had everything from high school students organizing where people should go and showing them around the facility to student presentations and staff presentations. It has been a 4-year journey to get us to the place where we are proud to display our technology and how it's integrated into classrooms. We had over 100 staff and students that were in it, that were actually showcasing technology. And we counted and feel that we had over 400 people in attendance. So it was a great community event. I'd like to also just thank LEAF. If you look back over this 4-year journey, it was often LEAF that funded initiatives when people had new ideas and they were innovative. LEAF was the one that said, we'll give you money to do this. They supported staff, they let them experiment with ideas, and I think that TIES is really a result of the generosity of LEAF, the board that's funded it, the grants committee, as well as all the people who donate. So thank you very much, LEAF.
Plus, we got these nice shirts.
Could I say one thing about LEAF? That's Long Meadow Excellence in Education Foundation. They're having a social hour tomorrow evening, starting at 6:30 at Twin Hills Country Club, and the public is invited. If you are interested in becoming a part of LEAF and helping the school system fund various projects, come on out. You're more than welcome. We'd like to have more people on board. Thank you. I just wanted to throw a little
That's
plug
a
in.
new thing, right? Like, that just happened last week, I found out from you, so.
Yeah, it's been on for about a week.
That's a great opportunity to come out, talk to people, see what's happening, so I hope everyone will be able to join us at Twin Hills. Thank you, John. The Evaluation Task Force continues to meet. This is a committee that is comprised of administrators and teachers, where we actually go through the tool that's used to evaluate teachers. It's been going on for a couple of years. We're using a draft of the model currently. We met again to actually refine the process because we had 17 indicators and we've reduced that to 10. It needs to go to the staff and administrators for their feedback, and we hope to culminate this by June as required by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. So that will be exciting to have that done. In addition, district-determined measures are required by the Department of, the DESE, Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. A district-determined measure is a form of assessment. It's a common assessment used by all teachers at a given grade level in a given subject area. We've been compiling those for the past couple of years. We're ready to submit in most areas. One area still under question is whether Ames Web will be used at the elementary level for math and ELA. It's their first year using it. Teachers want to have more time to test the tool and see if it's one that they feel is a good model for a district-determined measure. So we'll have more feedback on that. But those tools are due to the state on June 1st. We sent out the first administrative team newsletter. We hope you enjoyed it. We tried to highlight what was happening in the community, especially innovative ideas, and to give the community more feedback. It is posted on our website as well. And kindergarten orientation will be June 13th. A notice has gone to all incoming K parents. I'd also like to reiterate what John stated about Laurie Snyder. That she is one of 2 teachers nationally to receive this outstanding award. It's not often a teacher brings $5,000 back to a program in their district, as well as $2,500 individual recognition award for her. But she has really done a Herculean job of developing a partnership with Japan that has lasted now for many, many years. I had the pleasure, as you know, of going last June to meet our partners over there. In this globally competitive world, as well as global community, it's important that we're developing partnerships with our friends in Asia, and Laurie single-handedly has made that happen with Takikawa. So congratulations to Laurie for this well-deserved award.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Any questions for Marie? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to my report. It's been very busy without you around.
Thanks.
Grievance subcommittees met a couple times, and let's see what else happened. What have I got going on? This Thursday is the Glenbrook Principal Search interviews. We have 4 people we're interviewing for that. And then finally, I was at Long Meadow Days about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and we had a lot of representation there, so I just wanted to congratulate all of the different student groups out there that that had a presence, including members of the junior class who forced me to spend who sold me this $3 lanyard to support their class initiatives next year. Maybe you guys will have your prom at the society room as well. Who knows?
We already looked at the log cabin, but
Okay, well.
But hopefully that prom will be less expensive this year than it was this year.
Hopefully.
That's cool. So thank you for your support, Michael.
Absolutely. There was also some water bottles being sold at by Glenbrook, and of course the football team was out selling their stuff as well. So just want to congratulate everyone on a great weekend. The weather held out, and also want to congratulate the Historic Society on what I think was probably the best Longmeadow Days I've been to. The cannon only went off a couple times, so no big deal there. So great. Moving right along into Joseph's report.
Hello, everyone. This is the last report I will give in this term. So an update on elections, as the chairman was asking. So election signups began today at the high school. It's a very exciting time. All the student leaders are coming and re-signing their forms, and lots of debates going on. I am running for re-election, and you've all said you support me, so I appreciate that. So yes, the elections will take place next Thursday, and so either I will be here again, or I will be happy to train your new member, should that happen. So we actually have a new position for the senior class that I personally worked on, called Vice President of Activities, so that's very exciting. That person is now a Vice President class officer in charge of the play, not in charge of it, but focusing on the play and events like Powder Puff. So everyone's very excited about that. School Committee Student Advisory Council. We actually have a meeting next meeting with our next school committee meeting. We have an SCAC meeting with you guys, and we're working very hard to bring some good results for that. I can report that e-report cards is being discussed with the administrators and the IT department this week, and we are very optimistic about that. We think that actually might get done, so we would be very proud of that. And I can report that we are now in the process of organizing the ideas that we spoke about at our last school committee. Bless you. Our last school committee meeting about freshman orientation. We're now working with the guidance department to implement those ideas. So lots of exciting things going on there. As the superintendent mentioned, I was at TIES, and I was extremely impressed. I'd like to thank Ms. Budrow and everyone who had part in putting that together. I was blown away by how large the event was, how successful it was, and how impressive all the students were with all the technology that they showcased. I like to think of myself as a technology guy, and I was impressed, so there we go. And you and Mr. Warenda's, Superintendent Roy, you were in Mr. Warenda's skit was very, very funny. I liked how you guys opened the night, so.
You practiced that in the hospital.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Writing it.
The class of 2015, we are currently working hard on our play, High School Musical, which will take place next November. We're extremely happy with that. And actually this coming Friday, next Friday, June 6th, we're hosting a barbecue by the concession stands. And so if there's any 2015 students or parents, I encourage you to buy your tickets. Only $5, all the food you can eat. You get to see me dance, so.
Really?
Yes.
That might be worth it alone.
I was going to say.
Any school committee members that would like to come, I will sell you a ticket.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's everything that's going on. You might have noticed behind you is our new backdrop. Not our new backdrop, because it was just me. I put it there. So if anyone doesn't like it, I will take it down. But I would like to thank the town clerk's office, and the Longmeadow Public Schools IT department for getting me the logo of the seal of the town, the logo of the district. You would all be surprised that they keep the town seal under lock and key. I had to submit an email, and there was a lot, so it's safeguarded.
Could I suggest we put the Massachusetts flag up there? We do get a certain amount of funding. Actually, we get more funding from the state than we do from the feds.
Next meeting, if I'm still here, I will bring another draft.
Okay.
So.
Or you can have both, I guess.
Yeah,
we're still part of the union. I'm not advocating secession.
We'll mess around. So
last time I checked.
But they do send us more money, Chapter 70.
You are right. So I'll mess around with some different things. But yeah, so I'd like to thank those two departments for that together. If anyone has any questions, as per the usual, hopefully not the last time, but the last time of this term, if anyone has any questions of me, I'm happy to answer them.
Anybody running against you?
Mr. Kame, Ezra, he is on with the committee, and I don't know if he's running for the full-time position or just the temp, or the committee position that he holds now, but I know he's running, so, but I'm always happy to have assistance, and we'll see.
It's a good way to put it.
Optimistic.
John?
Yeah, what is your platform?
My platform, it's actually very
in
simple.
A few words, if you would.
And it was actually suggested by every school committee member that I saw at Ties, was that it takes a long time to get into the groove of school committee, what to say, how to say it, and who to say it to. And so I am the experienced candidate. So my speech will be all about how I know the ins and outs of the school committee, or I like to think I do. And so give me another year, and I will bring you even more results. And I'm your inside man. I have a line in my speech about being able to be reached by any means of communication: Facebook, Twitter, text me, call me if it's important. But come on, no one does that anymore. So that would be my platform. Always being ready and being very experienced.
Any specific planks that you're going to work for? Besides
yeah,
the inside.
The inside man. The
Besides
open
parking.
campus for upperclassmen. That will be the biggest initiative of next year. Still working with the administration on that, so that will be part of the speech. Usually when you say the words open campus in a speech, it kind of gets people going. And other than that, just, we have a very well-performing district, so I'm thankful that I don't run into many problems, so I like to look at what we can improve on, so improvements all around would be, but nothing, I will not get too specific because there's not that much wrong.
Awesome.
Well, thank you very much.
Best of luck. Great. Moving right along into finance.
Finance Subcommittee met on May 21st, 2014, and we have a building use request. Mr. Mazza.
Take it away, Tom.
Yes, in your packet is a request for building use from Kim's Dance Land to use the high school auditorium for Friday, June 20th, Saturday, June 21st, and Sunday, June 22nd. The request is coming under the new policy for community use of school buildings. If there is an anticipated attendance of greater than 50 individuals, then it needs to come to school committee for approval, with the exception of youth sports. So, Finance Sub did review and recommend that this request be approved.
So, shall I make a motion? I move that we approve the building request for Kim's Dance Land for the use of the high school and the dates specified.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion on the matter at hand? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. Is that it for FinSub?
She
Oh.
didn't vote? Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
7-0.
Sorry, it went too fast.
Do you need this?
No, I've
Before we move on to other stuff, I also forgot to mention that the tour of Long Meadow High School is actually the 9th at 5:45. Or 5:30, I'm sorry, 5:30. So it's before our next meeting, the 9th, which we all agreed to.
Right, then is that also when we're having the student council?
Yep.
So,
Are
you gonna have enough time?
That's a good point.
No, I think
We'll
we
see.
thought student council was this week, so then we scheduled the other one next week, next time.
I had
Right.
it at 5 o'clock.
The
Oh,
building
5
tour.
o'clock?
That's why we pushed it to 5.
Oh, okay, 5 o'clock.
Usually don't take the whole hour.
Right. So we can start you guys at like 6:15 or 6:30?
Okay, just,
Alright.
just email me.
What time are you doing the tour?
5.
5.
Okay, and then we'll do 6:15 for you.
Or we don't take that much time, so 6:30 if you don't want to take away from the tour.
Okay, 6:30. Great. Thank you for your flexibility, Joseph. All right, moving right along. School Building Committee. Not met since the last meeting.
Yeah, there was no meeting.
Yeah.
We have one coming up.
It's June, right? All right, legislative update?
Well, budget struggles are continuing. They'll be trying to reconcile the House and the Senate budget along with the governor's budget. But don't expect anything on that until around July 1st.
True. Great. Green Team.
We haven't met. The only thing I would say is that we are making some inquiries or progress with the pool, and we just have a couple more questions to find out.
Fantastic. Op sub. Seal. Okay. Collaborative.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Middle school working group. Okay. Oh, yeah.
No.
No,
Maybe
okay.
share. No, we're good.
Policy sub, we do have a policy for first reading, so do we want to do that now?
Sure.
Okay.
The first policy for the first reading is IJNDD, the social media policy for first reading. And our
An IJNDD is the social media policy, so there's just some updates to it.
Right.
Okay.
And the second policy is for first reading, it's ADDA, and it is to be in line with the Mass law regarding fingerprinting-based background checks.
I have a question about
Yes.
this. Is this, the way that the language reads, we're asking our teachers to pay for this?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
It's just like a license, so the teachers pay for their licenses.
This is, okay.
Yep. Yep. How much is it per,
$55 for
It's
school.
55 for licensed and 35 for everybody non-licensed, and every staff member would have to do it.
How often even if they're, so even if they don't need a
Every 2 years?
license, they still have to pay for.
well, don't forget, you have people in the building who are like, you have custodial staff and maintenance
That's what I
staff.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Did we ask them to pay for the quarries?
You don't have to pay for quarries.
Well, that's it. So then, you know, how are we, how can
Every
we-
district around, we've been polling each other, they're having the employees pay their own fee. The reason for that, it gets a little tenuous in how you decide who has need and who doesn't have need. But they also feel it's part of the responsibility of the employee to get that done, so. I have not seen a district yet that is paying for this service.
And it is a condition of employment, correct?
It is.
And it is state law.
So is this going to change for parent volunteers too, or anyone, are we going to ask them to be fingerprinted, or is it Corey still accepted?
Anybody who will be left alone with children, and it gets a little gray, for example, right now, field trips, they're with a group, they're not necessarily left alone, but they could be. So I think that we'll be asking more parents to get fingerprinted, but that's somewhat of a gray area that warrants more discussion.
We had to get fingerprinted where I was, in the school district we were at.
Yeah.
Before, all the parents that came into the school had, but that would mean, I don't know, lunch volunteers and stuff like that. It will, I know at our school, we have limited number of volunteers anyway.
Exactly.
So I can only see this as being a deterrent.
Exactly.
But, I mean, as a parent, I'm happy to see that we're finally doing that, because where we came from, we had it.
Right.
I think at this point, I'm asking principals to recommend that the parents get fingerprinted, but if they have a volunteer who's not fingerprinted, we still do have the Corey, so that shows up all Massachusetts information that we need. But to remind them not to leave that parent alone with children, that if they're in a cafeteria, they're not the parent you send to the nurse or somebody, that they're the ones who stay in an area where they can be monitored as well.
Joseph?
So it is the parent volunteers should be fingerprinted. I'm just asking
We'll
in
ask
terms
them
of-
to be, but I think, I worry, as Kim just said, that we'll have less parents volunteering. We already have a shortage of volunteers right now due to so many parents, both parents working in the family. So I'll ask, but I will let parents volunteer right now with the understanding the principals are not to leave those parents who have not been fingerprinted alone with the child.
Okay.
So they can be in a cafeteria where the principal can oversee them, or they're with other people. They can be in a classroom where the teacher's overseeing them, but they shouldn't be the person that's sent to the nurse alone with the child. They shouldn't be sent to the restroom with a sick child. They should always be monitored by another adult.
And I was thinking in terms of events like the sophomore lock-in, we had a lot of parents volunteering for that. So would those would be?
They'll all be asked to be fingerprinted,
Okay.
but I fear that if we say blanketly they have to be, we won't have chaperones to run these events.
And I do know that, sitting on policy sub is, we still are working out those types of details of, for field trips, for chaperones, where, for school committee members, where we're going to, because those are things we're all gonna have to vote on. So I know that that's still all being under discussion and is a work in progress.
And I had this discussion with some other superintendents, and I did take the position that we would ask people to do it. But I think that we're going to run into a problem pretty quickly with not enough parents to chaperone events, and that's a problem, so. Especially cafeteria duty and things like that, that we really rely on people. Are we going to say right now, no, you can't supervise the cafeteria and have no supervision?
Right.
Or do we say that parents should never be alone with the child?
Is this coming down from the state? Because, it seems to be in clear violation of innocent until proven guilty. You've actually got to prove that you don't have a record as a child molester or sexual assault.
I think, John,
perpetrator.
it's come from the fact that the Corey gives you all of the charges that have been brought against a person in Massachusetts, but there are actually pedophiles that have moved from state to state. And if we had national records on them, we would have picked it up. It's happened in a couple of states where somebody's moved, and if they'd had the national information, you would have known this person was dangerous. And the Corey doesn't give you any of their transgressions in other states. It's only Massachusetts. So the fingerprinting is a national picture of what's happened in this person's lifetime. It gives you an FBI record.
So the fingerprint gives you a cherry as opposed to Corey, which is national.
Correct.
Makes sense then.
And did this grow out of that Wakefield case? But that was a private daycare center.
Yeah, I don't think it did. I think it's been on the question on many of our minds for a long time, because I know that I was involved with a case several years ago in my last district where we had a pedophile that moved across the border. In that we found out somebody applying for another job, we found out through the grapevine. We were lucky we found out because the person was coming in from New Hampshire. We were close enough. So it's happened to many districts that having more information we thought was better to protect the children.
Okay, thank you.
As a parent, I'm very happy to see that it's happening.
Yes, yes.
Am I reading this correctly? They're going to, every 3, how often do they need to be fingerprinted?
Is it every 3 years?
Fingerprinting is going to be once, and there'll be a wrap back. It's going to take about 3 years to get the wrap back going. And once they do, you'll get your fingerprints read once, and then as long as you're employed, if anything were to show up in the future, we would be notified.
Okay. The Corey is every 3 years.
Yes.
Do they have to pay the $55 every 3 years?
No,
Okay.
it's a one-time, unless you left the district. If you left the district, you'd have to pay to do it somewhere else.
And that's another issue that was discussed with the superintendents. According to the law, if a teacher leaves our district and let's say goes to Agawam, then we could say that their fingerprinting is okay, but the superintendents decide we're not going to do that. Because let's say even someone's been here for 4 years, they're fingerprinted, we don't know that something hasn't happened or wouldn't happen in that transition time. So we're of the belief that each district should continue to have people fingerprinted as they come in, so.
Great. So, all right, so those policies will be on the website for 30 days, at which time we will collect public input on them, and then make a decision 30 days from now. So probably in our last June meeting, depending on the date. Moving right along into what Ben Lambert is waiting for, which is the superintendent's evaluation, the culmination of a year's worth of work since we set these. And I would just like to remind everyone that we actually set these goals for Marie probably back in July, maybe a little bit later, but right around the same time we set school committee goals during our retreat. And earlier this week, or last week I should say, I sent out the goals document. Knock them off. I sent out the goals document with all of the indicators that Marie has been working in. Obviously a little bit different than last year because last year she had 99 indicators. This year she has significantly fewer. And The way that the evaluation will work tonight is that we will go in order, and we can start wherever, and evaluate Marie on each indicator. You can provide a score, you can also provide some commentary. I would remind members of school committee that anything you write on your evaluation document will be entered into Marie's personnel record as well as the public record. And so if you have not brought in a pre-filled out evaluation tool, then you can write it as we go along. Diane will be recording the scores as we go and provide Marie with a cumulative score at the end. Again, we can score Marie on 1 through 4, with 1 being does not meet the expectation, 2 being needs improvement, 3 being meets expectations, and 4 being exceeds expectations. These goals and this evaluation tool are both negotiated through Marie's contract, as well as the new state mandated formatting, which is the same formatting for everybody in the district, from Marie down through teachers. And so, without any further explanation about it, I will hand it over to you so you can run us through this. Or would you want us to go indicator by indicator? What works better for you?
Shall we do indicator by indicator?
I think that works. I mean, that'll be a little bit more time saving, I think.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Many of this is similar to what we did just a month ago when we looked at the mid-year, because we ran a little bit late in presenting these. But the very first thing is what the DES recommends around my evaluation, that I should be an instructional leader and target 1 goal, look at professional practice, target a goal, and look at the district goals and target 2. And that's what we did this year. We followed the rubric. The very first goal is instructional leader, to build administrative capacity as superintendent, as coach. The key actions were to meet with colleagues to discuss best practices in the classrooms and to see how we could improve performance by identifying what best practices were, to see if our district initiatives were actually being implemented, to see if teachers had the supplies they need, and to look at the assessment of how students were performing. That has been done. For example, we've now met, Kelly and I have met with all the principals to look at their BAS data and their and to see how students are performing. We did it on 2 levels, individually, how students did in each teacher's classroom, so we looked at classroom assessments by teacher, and we also looked at school comparison to see how one school compared to the other. We're delighted with the progress that we're seeing. There are great gains in the new literacy program across the board. The teachers are also using AimsWeb. In addition, we've been doing walkthroughs where I walk with all of the central offices come, as well as the principals. We visit classrooms, and afterwards we talk about what we saw. Did we see good practice going on? What were students learning? How were they engaged? What kind of feedback were they giving? And I think this has helped enhance the evaluation practices of the principals, because they're able to learn from one another as well as we learn from one another as we discuss what it is that we should see when we're in an excellent classroom. We also have really added to staff development. We've provided opportunities. The release days, staff has been working on the literacy through our staff development provider, TLA. We've offered after-school classes for them. We've been using team time. We put in that extra block for elementary teachers when we provided the technology specialists so they can talk about curriculum and assessment. We also, in terms of trying to reach out to more students while all these initiatives are going on, we don't want to forget about our top, and we've really looked at the after-school program. I've worked closely with Stacy Smith, who I've put in as a coordinator, to look at STEM courses as well as a plethora of opportunities for students after school. We've brought back InspireWorks, which is a provider that we had originally used 2 years ago that does a great job of bringing on quality instructors in a range of opportunities for our students. This is also under instructional leader. The second goal was to recruit, hire a new assistant superintendent of learning, Kelly Ganji. She's done a great job, especially in the area of literacy, in terms of making sure that our teachers get the staff development they need, the materials they need. You heard Chris Collins talk about the books that were funded and given to the middle schools. We've continued to build libraries at the elementary school. We've worked with them around the common assessments so that we're making sure that the new literacy program is highly effective. Kelly's responsibilities include literacy, the professional growth courses. It's important to make sure that the staff development opportunities are tied directly into what the initiatives are, and there have been good course offerings in that area. In terms of staff development, both release days and after-school opportunities have been provided for our teachers to expand their knowledge of both literacy, technology, and other areas. And that is it for one.
And so,
Instructional leader, yeah.
what we will do with the category of instructional leaders, I will read the benchmark, and you will offer a score. Sound good? So for build administrator capacity, superintendent as a coach, benchmark number 1, administrative walkthroughs and co-observations with superintendent, principals, assistant superintendent for learning, and pupil services director. Janet.
3. Am I to make my comments?
You are allowed to, yes.
Okay. Walkthrough schedule has been provided to us, shows that 4 or 5 occurred at each of the 3 elementary schools, 1 at the high school, and at least 2 middle school walkthroughs that were reported throughout the year at school committee meetings, so at 3.
John?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say overall, I believe your performance as superintendent has improved over last year, and that's a holistic judgment, but I think I can substantiate it with my comments. I scored that as a 3 for the reasons just given.
Kim?
I scored that as a 3 as well.
I gave that a 3. Marie, you frequently update school committee on your day-to-day visits and your walkabouts through each school. Liz?
I give it a 4.
Katie?
4.
And Michelle?
So I just want to say I'm actually going to abstain from doing your evaluation with respect to you because I wasn't here for long enough to have enough firsthand experience, and I didn't want to take away from the integrity of the evaluation. And if my score was, you know, so
everything's geared on a 7, so it's going to take me a little while to refigure all that.
I'm sorry. I just didn't want to tarnish the vote by, you know, providing feedback that I wasn't exposed to. But I do want to comment, you know, just in general that what I've experienced so far has been amazing, and I'm really, really happy to be working with you and to have you working for the schools that my children attend. So thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, Diane.
We're fine. I'll just have to make sure I go in and change out my formulas.
All right, next is debrief meetings.
I gave it 3.
I gave that a 4.
Okay.
I gave it a 3.
I gave it a 3. Marie, you frequently update school committee about your visits with staff and to hear their concerns. You've also told us about how you've had meetings with teachers at each school to discuss various literacy initiatives, and you have solicited feedback from staff. Liz?
I give it a 4.
Katie?
4.
And Michelle's abstaining.
Abstain.
Great. Individual meetings with principals. Janet?
I gave that 2.5, and while I'm confident that these have been taking place, there's no formal documentation that's been presented to the school committee.
John?
Okay. All right, I gave that a 4, and because we've had a difficult problem with Glenbrook this year, and I think you handled that very well. The transition to, well, from 2 principals to 1, it did not affect the quality of education in the classroom. So, along with your work with principals in general. So I gave it a 4.
Kim?
I gave that one a 3.
I gave that one a 2. Marie, you do meet with principals frequently, and you do update us on that, although you have yourself said that you know that you could be doing it more frequently, and that you could be providing more mentoring and more coaching to your administrators. Liz?
4.
Yep. Katie?
4.
And Michelle's abstaining.
Abstain.
All right, moving on, professional growth course syllabus.
I gave that a 3. The PD course syllabus provided seems to offer a wide variety of topics. While I'm not an expert in what teachers need or want in terms of their professional development, I feel that there was quite the range of choices.
John?
Okay. I gave that a 4. I thought the professional growth courses themselves were quite good. I also like the fact that we've expanded and tried to involve the community with this lifelong learning, which is part of it, so 4.
Kim?
I gave it a 3. I liked seeing, I know that we've got the math and the literacy in there, but I liked that we were, had courses that talked about integrating the technology into the everyday classroom.
Great. I gave it a 3. I think Carla also deserves a 3 because I see emails from Carla about various professional development courses every single week. And so I think that we are definitely on track with that, and I think that you've met that expectation for yourself. Liz?
I gave it a 3.
Katie? And Michelle's abstaining. Unannounced observations of administrators, for example, team and/or faculty meetings. Janet?
I gave that a 2.5 because I don't know of any information that's been provided back. Again, I'm sure that it's occurred, but, and I struggle, and I'll insert this here, is I struggled with the questions on the evaluation because they're very black and white, yes or no questions. And while we all have quite a wealth of information behind the scenes, it doesn't give us a whole lot of chance to expound on it. And so when doing this, I answered just the question that was there and tried not to read more into it.
Okay.
John?
I gave that a 3. I happen to have had the experience of unannounced visitations when I was a teacher, and I think it keeps you on your toes. So I'd encourage more of that. It's probably not popular with teachers or administrators, but unannounced observations it's like candid camera, and I'd recommend it. So I gave it a 3.
Kim?
I gave it a 2.5, but only because I would like to hear about more of the unannounced ones happening. I hear a lot about the planned observations, but I think both are helpful.
I gave it a 3. Marie, you frequently at least indicated that you've done these things. I always seem to catch you as you're on your way over to a faculty meeting, which is nice to hear. Liz?
I gave her 3. I also would like to hear about the observations, how they're going.
Katie?
I gave it 4. I think it doesn't seem like it's a threat that you're going to show up, but more of just kind of welcoming in, so.
And Michelle's abstaining.
Yes.
All right, so the overall, do you have that figured out for goal 1?
3.52.
3.52.
3.52.
Is that what we put in here? Or no?
Yeah, it would be a 3.52 overall. So for goal number 2, recruit, hire, and mentor a new assistant superintendent for learning. Benchmark number 1 is continuity in staff development from FY12 to FY13 and FY13 to FY14. Janet?
I gave that a 3, and as a new member of the school committee, just being elected in June of 2013, I have no basis of reference to compare FY 12-13 to FY 13-14.
All right, I gave that a 3, and I do have a basis for comparison since I was here before. I think the two of you need to work on better communication, and I expect assistant superintendents to be loyal and supportive of superintendents, and that's something I want the two of you to work on, so I gave it a 3.
Okay. Kim?
I gave it a 3. I've noticed it's hard to get a 4. Sorry.
4s are tough, because, I mean, a lot of these, like Janet said, you either meet the expectation or you don't. There's not a lot of wiggle room in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being on time for work or something. Like, you can't exceed that expectation. For that, I gave it a 3. It's inherently difficult to provide complete continuity when you have a brand new assistant superintendent come in and a former assistant superintendent who had a very different approach to pedagogy. But that being said, I think that, while the staff has obviously had an opinion about how things have transpired, you have certainly worked very hard to make sure that the transition was seamless, or as seamless as possible, and that you work to at least explain changes in the staff development plans. Liz?
Give it a 3.
Katie?
I give it a 3, but I do so knowing that, like, you have to keep best practice. And the changes, that need to be made were made, so that's.
Abstain.
Okay. Fact sheets from every staff development program should give positive reviews. Janet?
I gave that a 2.5. We've gotten a summary sheet, I'm not sure which one of you prepared it, but for K through 5. And from that, it appears that we're moving in the right direction, and we're focusing on what the teachers are needing. I just didn't see any data on middle school or high school, or if we were supposed to have data on that.
John?
I gave it a 3.
Kim?
I gave it a 3 as well.
I gave it a 2, simply because I have not seen very many of those. And I think that, it'd be beneficial for us to know how those are going, at least from, the perspective that we, pay for. So we'd like to know if they're being successful, but more importantly than that, we'd like to know that staff feels good about what they're doing. We receive positive feedback, but we never see a compilation of comments. Liz?
I give it a 2. I said basically the same thing, that I wasn't sure if the feedback sheets were from staff to Marie or from staff to us.
Right.
So I was a little unsure of what that exactly meant.
Good. Okay. And Michelle's back.
I didn't get you something.
3. Okay. Administrative team gives positive feedback stating that their teachers' needs are being met so that student achievement is increasing. Janet?
I gave that a 2.5. And again, while I'm sure that this information is being collected and collated, I don't know of anything that we've gotten that shows that how professional or teachers' needs being met and student achievement correlate.
John?
Okay, I gave it a 3.
Okay. Kim?
I gave it a 3.
I gave it a 2, very similar to my comments in the last indicator. Again, we haven't seen a lot of committee-level feedback from staff development programs, at least as received through administrators, beyond yourself, of course. We can hear from you. Liz?
I gave it a 2 for the same reasons.
Katie?
I gave it a 3. I think the feedback is what drives the course offerings and what we're putting out there for teachers, so I think that speaks to what we do.
Great. And MCAS scores show student growth and achievement.
Gave that a 3. The data acknowledges we are a high-achieving district, and there's always room for improvement. I know some of our classes are at the top, left, right, wherever we need to be. One population is our special education population, since we are now sending less students out of district and we are housing them and providing services at their home districts, making sure that their assessments, that they're learning in terms of testing, which I know is an area we've been talking about, is measuring how to improve their test scores.
John?
I gave that a 4, and I felt it's only fair because that's what the state is asking us to do, is measure student achievement using the MCAS. And I just offer parenthetically, MCAS is not the only measure of student progress and teacher achievement and achievement in the classroom. There's portfolio assessment and other things like that, but a 4.
Kim?
I gave it a 2.5. I just know that our special education seems to still need improvement, and the 4th grade looked like it needed some improvement as well. And I know we're working on it. That's why I didn't go for the full 2.
I gave it a 2.5 as well. The MCAS scores certainly do show achievement in the upper grades, although the special education scores are specifically trending lower consistently. Marie, you've made strategic decisions for our next fiscal year's budget to address those. But for the purposes of this evaluation and the fact that those fruits, or the fruits of those decisions, or the outcome of those decisions have yet to be measured for obvious reasons, the downward trend was the 2.5. Yes, sorry.
I gave it 2.5. I just wrote that that shows that we still need to improve our MCAS scores in elementary and special ed.
Katie?
3. I just think that, again, I know we need some data-driven assessment, but that our kids are just a bigger snapshot than that too, so I think we're doing pretty good.
And Michelle's abstaining.
Yes.
All right. Diane? Okay.
2.77.
All right. So I guess we're back to
Okay. Professional practice.
Oh, hold on.
Sorry, Ray, we went back to the animals. So Robin's asked me to get rid of the animals.
I wonder how this looks on camera.
I asked LCT about it. They said it would look fine.
Behind me.
Oh.
Okay. Do I glow?
You probably look a little bit more important.
So the entire committee can agree that's the last thing we need.
We formed a committee and conducted a study on the need for full-day kindergarten. We found that it was important for the education of our students to do that, especially as changes are made in the Common Core. We did reduce the fee and made it so that it was no longer a lottery, but all students were able to participate in full-day kindergarten. We reviewed the literature, we had parent forums, we looked at the budget to see where we could reduce the fee and made recommendations to the school committee. Next, we increased communication throughout the district. The newsletter did go out a few weeks ago to highlight many of the innovations happening. I think one of the highlights of the year was TIES, the technology fair, that took months to plan, motivate, cajole, and to bring together. Sandy Boudreau did an excellent job in organizing that, but I was definitely behind the scenes on that. We had the kindergarten report, which went out to the community, lifelong learning. We have increased what we're doing and offering opportunities to the community to find out the excellence going on in Long Meadow Public Schools. Messages have gone out through Alert Now, blogs, staff memos. I've been to staff meetings, parent meetings, and building celebrations.
Great. All right. I just locked Google Doc. Okay. All right. For goal 1, conduct a study on the need for full-day kindergarten. Benchmark number 1 is lead weekly meetings with the kindergarten committee. Janet?
Give that a 3. The meetings were organized and held weekly as described. Active participation was encouraged, and the committee functioned quickly to address the issues at hand in a very timely manner.
John?
I gave that a 4, and I commend the kindergarten committee for the work that they put into this, along with the superintendent. I was a witness to a couple of the meetings, and I think there was maximum community involvement there. I can't think of anything that could have been done to improve it, so 4.
Great. Kim?
I gave it a 3.
I gave it a 3. You did it. So that's great. Liz?
I gave it a 3.
Katie?
I gave it a 4.
Great. Organize at least 3 parent forums.
I gave that a 4, realizing that not all parents could attend these forums, but needed the information. And based on the suggestion of the committee, Marie, you made arrangements to have the forums video recorded on LCTV, had links added to the website available for anybody who was not able to physically be present.
John?
Okay, I gave it a 4 for the reasons just indicated. I agree.
Kim?
I gave it a 3. I thought it was, we had 2 taped. I thought it was good.
I gave it a 4 for the reasons Janet described. Liz?
I gave it a 4. I also want to say that you couldn't have done any more to advertise it to the community.
That's true. Yes.
I amend my statement to reflect that. Katie?
4.
Michelle? Abstain? All right, produce a written report.
I gave that a 3.5. The written report was very thorough, addressing all of the issues that the committee had addressed in their meetings in making their recommendation.
John?
I give it a 4 because I really liked the written report, but I'll have some comments on what was done with the written report. So I'll give that a 4.
Okay. Kim?
I gave it a 3 as well.
I gave it a 3. It was a well-done report. Happy we had it. Liz?
I give it a 4.
Katie?
4.
Michelle?
Abstain.
Great. And finally, bring a recommendation forward to school committee.
I gave that a 3. The recommendation brought forth was one that was not unanimously voted upon at the committee level. Even while knowing funding was not available, Marie, you didn't encourage the committee to try to sway them into making another decision. You've laid out all the facts as they were known and stood by the decision of the committee in bringing forth their recommendation, and not one that was led fiscally.
John?
Well, I give it a 3 because there was a recommendation forwarded to the school committee, but the findings of this select committee that did quite a bit of homework on the topic indicated that this was an excellent idea, and then was shot down basically for fiscal reasons. And the committee, as Janet indicated, did not vote unanimously to support that. So the vote went 6-1. And, well, I can't really blame the superintendent for that. I think that was some of the dynamics of the committee itself, to be frank.
I just need to clarify, John, I wasn't speaking of that unanimous vote. Within the kindergarten committee itself, the vote of what proposal to bring forward, that was not a unanimous decision. So just for clarification, I wasn't speaking of the school committee vote.
Oh.
I was speaking of the kindergarten committee vote itself, that there was not a unanimous decision within the committee to be brought forth.
What was the vote inside the committee, if I could ask? Do you recall?
I don't recall offhand, I'd have to look it up.
3 people were on the committee?
No, this was the committee with 3 teachers, 3 parents, 3 principals, 2 school committee members, and Marie.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
And Tom, I think, was on there.
Thank you.
Kim?
A 3.
And I give it a 3 as well. You definitely brought recommendation back. Liz?
I gave it a 4.
Katie?
4.
Michelle?
Abstain.
Okay. 4. What do you got?
352.
Great. Goal number 2, increase communication throughout the district. Benchmark number 1, the newsletters that were disseminated.
I gave that a 3.5. While the newsletter was just sent for the first time in May, communication via many other methods have been initiated. Your blog, your use of Facebook, your use of media, alert nows, parent forums are all ways that you have implemented and increased communication throughout the year.
John?
I gave it a 4. I think there was a real improvement over the previous year, and I hope we're going to continue that trajectory.
Kim?
I gave it a 3.
Okay. I gave it a 3 as well. Liz?
I gave it a 2, just because we only had one newsletter, and that's what it asked for, newsletter. And also, I'd like to unify and have all school events on it, so people, as I think we've talked about before, people can see if something's going on in the high school, even if they have a child in elementary school.
Katie?
3.
Great. Michelle?
Abstain, but I'm going to just ask a question.
Sure.
There were newsletters and then they were stopped, is that, I'm sorry.
No, we haven't had district newsletters, so
Okay.
that was one of the goals, to try and increase.
Got it.
Produce some.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Okay. Information and newsletters was inclusive, or is inclusive, I should say.
I gave that a 3. All means of communication that has been used is extremely informative and accessible to everyone within the community. Continued outreach and communication should continue to be a priority.
Okay, John?
I give it a 4. for the reasons I indicated.
I gave it a 3.
I gave it a 3 as well. Liz?
3.
Katie?
I gave it a 4 only because, like, I know it's not in like newsletter form, but it's really conducive to how we collect information today. You know, like having things quickly posted on Facebook with information that's clear, it's concise, it's right there. I think that's what we need to focus on too.
Okay. And number 3, staff reports that they are aware of what's happening in the district.
I gave that a 3. If the staff's not aware, I would think that would be by their own fault because they've been given detailed plans, specifically centering around RTI, given specific timeframes, and they've been given the long-term plans and goals, especially around literacy.
John?
I gave that a 4. Part of my indicator here is a large turnout at the technology presentation. The Major Works concert, the spring concert, you really have to go out of your way to not know what's going on in Long Meadow. So I think we're communicating on a very high level. 4.
Kim?
I gave it a 3.
I gave it a 3 as well. I think that the greatest thing that's come out of making people aware of what's going on in the district is the different students that we feature at the beginning of every meeting. And I think the teachers go, I'm speculating, but I would assume the teachers go back to their schools and talk about coming up here and talking to us about what's going on. And, I think recognizing staff and students for their accomplishments and their achievements and their projects is really a great way to be inclusive. Liz?
I gave it a 2. I just want to say that I think we need to make sure that all staff has information about events and things going on, as well as information that's in the handbook.
Okay. Katie? What's up?
4.
Great. And
Abstain.
Abstain. Great. Okay. Curveball there. All right, Diane?
3.19.
Okay.
3.19.
All right. Last go around.
Okay. District goals. We're asked to choose 2 of the district goals, and these are the 5 that come from the strategic plan that was done a few years ago. So we continue to work off of that. We look at it, and it is definitely a living document that it has our attention annually. We would like to have all students learn at high levels, improve as a learning organization, integrate technology and promote digital citizenship, cultivate community connections, and demonstrate fiscal responsibility.
Marie, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you put your slides back up?
It's a really nice mountain, though.
We've gone from Joseph to the mountains.
Sorry,
to-
Superintendent, your computer goes to sleep and then you get off the Apple TV and then I get rid of the animals.
Okay. So we have so there are the district goals.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And our district goal, a major thrust was to improve literacy achievement. I think that we do recognize we expect more in the area of achievement from our elementary students, particularly in the area of special ed and across the board. Our new literacy initiative has been underway for 3 years. We've brought on new materials. We've provided staff development. We've outlined curriculum. We're working on unit plans right now. And we have brought on assessment tools that are giving us feedback on student progress. So that is ongoing and on track. The second goal is to integrate technology and promote digital citizenship. We have a plethora of uses in terms of instructional tools. When I visit classrooms, I see it used across the board. At the end of the year, we're going to take a snapshot of all schools to see what technology is being used during a certain window of time, to see how many cards are signed out, how many teachers are using them, so that we can meet that benchmark of 75% of teachers using technology at one time. We're using technology also to assess students. Ames Web is online. We're looking to bring in Inform, which is a program that will download all of our BAS and Ames data so we can get a snapshot of students, not only as they're improving right now from year to year, so that it's a quick window so that we make sure that students are making progress. We're using technology more for communication. whether it's Facebook, the newsletter, or to get out alert nows. It's an important part of how we communicate with people. It is the primary mode right now. And again, for data analysis, to make sure that our students are achieving.
Question, if I could. Was there an increase in student achievement on the MCAS?
We don't know this year yet. I'm anticipating there will be, but the results are not out yet. They just took the test.
Well,
they're taking the test.
Okay, but the results that we got this year showed improvement?
Some areas are improvement and some they were not.
Is there a percentage one way or the other?
I don't have a percentage, just the slideshows that I'd shown you earlier. I think in the area of special education, I think that grade 4, we continue to see a dip there. So we've been targeting those areas in particular to see what supports are needed. The high school continues to make outstanding progress in terms of the percentages of kids that are proficient and advanced at the high school. The middle schools scored exceptionally well in the state with great returns in literacy and mathematics there.
Okay. If I could, what about Ames Web? You expressed some concern in your report here about Ames Web.
We're using Ames Web. The question is that a tool that the teachers want to use as a district-determined measure that's reported to the state? And so they're using it. The feedback is good, but there are different modules, and they haven't used all the modules yet, so they've been trained on it. They've all tested at least 5 students on it, so we need another year of implementation to make sure that's an effective tool before we rush into it. This is the first year of piloting it and really learning how to use the tool.
Okay. And finally, if I could, is it really a benchmark to say there's a reduction in the number of referrals to special ed? Do we want to say that?
I think that's what our goal is.
That's a success that we've reduced. I mean, I can see a differentiation between placement in very expensive outside the school facilities versus in-house work.
Well, I think, John, a lot of students end up in special education because we're not catching them early and giving the intervention. And with the response to intervention right now, looking at the data, trying to get the support, all the staffing that we've put in place to make sure students are getting that support, that is indicative of whether or not our program is working. There will always be a certain number of referrals because children have learning disabilities, and that's the whole point about special education, is to help them. We're not looking to weed out children with disabilities. We're looking to help other children that could have really mastered this had the early interventions been in place.
Thank you.
So would it be appropriate to say, like, it's not almost change, not change the language, but just the understanding that we're reducing the number of unneeded referrals or catching children within the RTI?
Yes. In unnecessary testing of children, that we have other ways of doing that now. Previously, if a teacher thought a child wasn't reading, you needed to go through the special ed testing. Now we have the BAS, we have the Ames Web, and we're using other tools to assess their reading progress.
So you're limiting their time outside of the classroom, you're limiting teachers' time outside the classroom, you're limiting time of specialists testing by catching them in this.
Exactly.
All right, let's go back through these now. It's okay. So, Goal 1, improve literacy achievement. Benchmark 1, there will be an increase in student achievement on MCAS. Janet?
I gave that a 3. Well, we're moving forward, taking proactive approaches to assessing where the district is falling short, which you've shown us throughout this year. And since this year's test results will not be available until fall, it's hard to say whether we've had achievement this year.
I give it a 3.
Okay, Kim?
I gave it a 2.5, just because I know that it is something we're working on.
I give it 2.5 as well. Obviously, we know that this year's reporting, or last year's reporting for this year, shows that there's been a decrease in some areas in MCAS, but we've made efforts to change what we've been doing, and we'll know next year. Liz?
I give it a 2.5 as well. Scores did not increase in 3rd, 4th grade and some special ed, and but we will see this upcoming year with additional RTI and special education initiatives.
Katie?
I gave it a 3. I thought that we were aware of issues and testing issues. My one concern with it is putting some stress on our kids maybe unknowingly making the test bigger than it needs to be for especially our elementary students. Just keeping that in mind.
Michelle, still
Abstain.
abstaining? All right, benchmark number 2, individual scores will increase, individual scores will increase in literacy as shown by Ames Web.
I gave that a 2.5. Ames Web, this is the first year it's implemented. We're still seeing how that goes, but we've not been given any specific student test data as of yet.
John?
I gave it a 3.
Kim?
I gave it a 2.5, simply because I don't think we've fully implemented it yet, so you can't.
I gave it a 2.5 as well. We have not seen any of the data that actually exists from the test at this point, but we also know that it's not completely implemented, so looking forward to that. Liz?
I give it a 3, as we need more time to, again, hear these scores, but I hear that some teachers are loving the test, so that's positive.
Katie?
I give it a 3 as well. I think it takes time, and doing it well means not doing it all at once.
Indicator number 3, there will be a reduction in the number of referrals to special education.
I gave that a 3, because we've been given information regarding the number of students who we've been able to move back into district or keep from being placed out of district, allowing them to study in their home community. So in terms of specific referrals within district, we don't have that information, but we also know that we're able to serve a lot of our students instead of sending them elsewhere.
John?
I give it a 3, and I agree with my colleague.
I gave it a 3 as well, similar reason.
I gave it a 2.5 because while we've made a lot of really great progress within our existing special education program, I don't believe that we've been made aware of the specific reduction in referrals at the committee level, or even what they were last year compared to this year. So obviously, hard to score that without knowing all the information about it. Liz?
I give it a 3. I said we've rolled out many new initiatives to reduce the referrals.
And Katie?
I gave that a 3 as well, and I just, again, reducing referrals doesn't mean keeping kids from services that they need. It's keeping kids where they will be best served in the classroom.
Exactly. Michelle?
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay, great. And 4, schedules will change to allow time for intervention.
I gave that a 3.5. You've reported back to us that the middle schools have been working out their schedule, where both schools will be able to accommodate all student needs and interests, and the elementary schools, I know, are getting ready to submit their final schedules for implementation in the fall, so.
John?
I gave it a 3 for the ongoing devotion to the cause.
Okay.
I gave it a 3.
I gave it a 3.5. We've heard a lot, both from you and from Kelly, about what these intervention blocks will do, and I see a very united front on that effort, knowing that the middle school schedules are finally put to rest, hopefully. I know that this will be successful, and I think that that's an important piece of progress for the ongoing RTI that Kelly has been working on implementing. So,
I gave it a 2.5 because I think that a longer day needs to be implemented to capture all the RTI.
Katie?
I gave it a 4. I would love to see a longer day. I'd love to see a longer school year. I think that, we're moving in the right direction with technology integration specialists, allowing for, RTI right there in the classroom. And also in middle school, I know the learning labs allow kids to have that, pre-teaching and double dose of teaching without them feeling like they're being pulled out or sort of singled out and with the big, SPED label above their head as they leave the room. So I think that we're definitely doing that, right?
Right.
Michelle?
Abstain.
Okay. All right, Diane?
2.92.
2.92.
Yep.
And finally, goal number 2, integrate technology and promote digital citizenship. A technology fair will be held in the spring to demonstrate to the community how technology is used. Staff and students from all over the district will participate. Janet?
I gave that a 4. The TIES event was much more than I ever expected. In talking with students there, they are very excited about the possibilities that technology offers them. And in talking with the teachers, even those who were reluctant to integrate technology into their lessons, they were excited as well. And when they saw success with their students, they have become motivated to incorporate even more technology, which was very exciting to hear.
John?
I gave it a 4 for the reasons Janet indicated, but I was witness to a really spectacular turnout, K through 12, of students demonstrating skills that they have acquired in the classroom. I'd also like to single out Kevin Warenda for his contribution to the field of technology. He's been an invaluable assistant.
Absolutely. Kim?
I gave it a 4.
Well, it was going to be a 3 walking into the meeting, but then I got this shirt. But in all seriousness, I gave you a 4. I think that, at least during my time on the school committee thus far, you've put a very large emphasis on technology and integrating technology into the curriculum. I know that we've made significant investments in the past few years. I know that we have dealt with reluctance from faculty, reluctance from parents, reluctance, and pushback in many, many different directions. And to know that it culminated in such a successful event, and to see that, we have students come and show us they made an app for their, simple machines, to see how successful our technology integration has been, and to see the buy-in that we have from staff and from students is really, really encouraging. And so I'm giving you a 4 on that. Liz?
I give it a 4.
Katie?
I give 4. Joey gives it 4.
Joey gives it 4.
He loved it. It was awesome. It was seeing how engaged the kids were. Every single, from elementary all the way up to high school was awesome. Great.
Michelle?
And I will abstain.
Okay. Just checking. All right, moving right along. Teachers will successfully use Ames Web to assess students' progress in literacy.
Give that a 3. Ames Web is newly implemented, and I know we've been told that there are the super users who are trained in each of the buildings, piloting their testing in their classrooms, and that they are going to be making more specific recommendations into how they'd like to use the tool moving forward.
Okay, John?
I give it a 3 for the reasons indicated under goal 1, number 2.
Okay, Kim?
I gave it a 2.5, just because I know it seems to still be something we're working on. We haven't fully implemented yet, and I don't know that we've used, I don't know if we've seen results and used it more than once with every child to assess progress.
I give it a 3 because I know that we have begun to do it, and we are obviously seeing some progress where we're able to measure. And I hope that next year we'll be able to see progress with all students that utilize this testing.
I gave it a 2.5. I put that because I don't think that all the teachers are using Ames Web, and that all the teachers need to be on the same page with the technology.
Okay.
I gave it a 4 because I really think we're doing it responsibly, doing it well, instead of just doing it quickly.
Michelle?
I'm abstaining.
Okay. Great. And finally, number 3, at least 75% of classes observed will have technology integrated into their lessons. Janet?
I gave it a 3.5. You've reported to us throughout the year that during your walkthroughs, you've seen technology being used. We saw the wonderful things that our students have accomplished through the TIES. And I hope that the teachers are utilizing technology on a daily basis, not just when they know you're coming by. But I would think that the TIES event showed that that's occurring.
Okay, John?
I gave it a 4.
I give it a 2.5, just because I'd like to I see it being used in some schools more than others, and I'd like to see it even out.
I give it a 4. I think that we've done a really, really great job of encouraging teachers across the district to utilize technology in every facet. I think we could certainly be doing it more. But I know that sometimes we need technology to catch up with some of the things we'd like to do. E-books, for instance, but I know that we have very successful e-book programs at the middle schools, and that they are certainly utilizing technology there.
I gave it a 2.5 because in a report that I read, it said the usage was not going to be checked until the end of the year. And I just think that all teachers should be utilizing technology, even if they don't want to.
Katie?
I gave it a 4. The technology integration specialists have really sort of lit the fire under even reluctant teachers, and they're taking chances and bringing it in.
Okay. Michelle?
Abstain.
Okay. All right, Diane?
3.47.
And the overall?
3.47.
3.23.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Say again?
3.23 overall.
3.23.
So, at this point, I just emailed it to you, because I didn't print it out, but
Oh, you emailed me your...
my evaluation tool.
Okay.
If you have your paper copy in front of you, would you please just pass it down to Diane, because she will collect them now.
Do we need to sign them?
What?
Do we need our names on them?
I would...
Yeah, your name is helpful.
That way I know whose comments are wrong.
All right.
Like dinner or staying over.
No, he says if they're coming down.
Yeah, Liz is just writing her name on everything.
I don't have a staple.
Okay. Thank you. All right, great. All right, at this point, we're going to move on to the approval of warrants.
Is that correct?
I hope so.
Okay. I move the school committee approve the warrant batch number 2200 of the general operating fund for fiscal year 2014, dated 30 May 2014, in the amount of $478,123.09.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? And the motion carries 7-0.
I move the school committee approve the warrant batch number 2201 of the school lunch fund dated 30 May 2014 in the amount of $65,490.91.
Second.
A motion and I have a second. All those in favor? The motion carries 7-0.
That's it. Just 2 batches.
All right, at this point, there is no other business. Does anybody else have anything to bring up or add? All right.
Well, if I could, just one.
John, then.
And I should have mentioned this earlier. The Long Meadow community lost a very valuable teacher within the last week. Mr. Bill Dyson of Glenbrook. He retired back in, I believe, 2004, but he passed away last week, and he was one of the great teachers in the Long Meadow school system. And I offer my condolences to his friends and his colleagues and all the students involved. And I'm sorry I didn't mention it earlier.
Thank you.
I just wanted to tell everyone about the Williams Middle School paper shredding event that we have coming up on June 7th from 9 to 12. They're going to offer on-site secure shredding of all confidential paperwork and hard drive destruction.
Well.
So, good time to purge.
Is there a limit on how much you can bring?
Oh, Leon, sorry.
I'm going to clean out my garage.
All right, great. Without any further ado, well, I guess what I would end on saying is that there's 4 of us who are up on the ballot on June 3rd, and I just would wish everybody
5 of us.
Not on June 3rd.
Right.
The best of luck. You know, so that's all I would have to say. And on another note, obviously we're going to be reorganizing at the following meeting, providing that we're all back here. But I would just like to thank the committee. The last 2 years as chairman of the board have been really phenomenal, and you know, I've been very privileged to have the support of so many great people, even some who are not here anymore: Jennifer Jester, Gerard Kiernan, to name just a few, Jim DeRozier as well. And so I would just, you know, thank everybody for your support and your help, and even your patience, Diane. It's been a real honor to have been chairperson of this board for 2 years. I think we've done some incredible things, and I think that we're going to continue to do them. So, with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? The motion carries. We'll be back on June 9th. We'll see you then. Have a good 2 weeks.